In the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
We're tuned in to Rebooting Liberty.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
We are today facing a full-fledged constitutional crisis. The answer is not a monarch from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves. You and I are told increasingly we have to choose between a left or right. Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down.
We're tuned in to Rebooting Liberty.
Welcome, friends, foe, and fellow patriots. It's October 19th, 2015, and we're broadcasting live from the Valley of the Sun, Phoenix, Arizona, where we just recovered from a massive hailstorm. Thank you for tuning in today to another broadcast of Rebooting Liberty. My name is Jared Day, and I'm the executive director, and we are a group of volunteer citizen journalists, grassroots activists, and social media rock stars. You can find us at rebootingliberty.com, your source for news the mainstream media doesn't touch. If you visit the site, sign up for the newsletter once a day, email with all the stories. And we also have a lot of resources for citizen journalists and grassroots activists, so check it out. Today's broadcast is the second of a three-part series. We got a very special guest back with us this week. If you listened last week, you met him. He is, I will introduce him in a minute, but I wanted to just, he's the founder and operator of Evincible Vets. It's a part of a nonprofit dedicated to helping veterans get the care they need and deserve in the VA healthcare system and attending to daily needs. He's fighting the system himself to get his own benefits, and he's got compelling evidence that's exposed corruption and lack of action on behalf of the VA officials, but he's mostly in it to help other vets. He's just learned a lot through his own turmoil with the system. So let him enlighten you. His name is Ricky Barnes, and he should be... Ricky, you on?
Yes, Jared, I'm here.
Good to have you back.
Well, thank you for inviting me back, Jared.
So, you want to reiterate about the protest in case doesn't know about it, didn't listen last week?
Yes, Jared, I'd like your listeners to know that in Phoenix, I've organized a protest, against the VA, the Phoenix VA system, and of course all the things that have happened to veterans over, the course of the years, and here in Phoenix, and of course nationally. What we're doing is 2 days before, Veterans Day, which is going to be November the 9th. We're going to do a protest at the Phoenix VA Medical Center. That's going to be located on 7th Street and Indian School Road. We're going to do the protest approximately around 7 a.m. to 1 p.m., and that's our time frame for, hopefully we can get some answers or, to voice our opinions as vets and as supporters to find out why these questions have not been answered over a course of, two years now. And as the VA scandal continues, the situation is only getting worse, and it's not getting better. Right.
So yeah. we are a national show, so I just want to mention that, or ask you, I did notice that there's a couple other cities that responded to some of the media releases we put out, and if somebody's listening and they're in Kansas City or Chicago or anywhere else, is there a group they can go to in their area to get a protest going in their city?
Well, what they can do is, like what I did, I've created Evincible Vets, and I think what veterans should do is they should organize their own groups locally within each city or wherever there's a VA or who they're having concerns with. And once they organize those groups, they should, reach out nationally with each other groups and make sure that when you do a protest, like we're doing our protest on November the 9th, I've had another veterans group from Washington reach out to me and inform me that they are going to protest on that same day that we're protesting on, which is great. This is a thing that should be done nationally, with all veterans involved. And once we do that, we can bring awareness to all of these issues that are taking place, to the VA scandals that are taking place nationally, and they need to come to an end. So I suggest that veterans create their own groups, and if they want to, fall under Evincible Vets, we can establish groups in those cities, or if they want to create their own group, they can connect with us, and we can make sure that we coordinate with each other to make sure that we just don't do one protest, that we're going to continue to do protests until these questions are answered and until the VA scandal has come to a conclusion.
Right. I think we should reach out to Washington and during the protest, and that could be the first step, is getting other cities working together.
Exactly, and Washington should be, a major focal point, because that's what we have to realize. That's where all the decisions are made anyway, or they come from there anyway. And for me to, in the past, to have written a VA IG team, Inspector General, and also written a letter to Washington for a congressional investigation against the Phoenix VA Medical Center, and for all of that information to be transferred back to the head director's office in Phoenix at the VA Medical Center, is just something to call for. I do not believe those entities should be sending the information back to the individuals you have a complaint against. And, of course, you're not going to get the right, proper answer or response from those entities.
Right.
And so, and in my case, that is exactly what, transpired with my case, is those, the IG team, the VA IG team in Washington, investigation team sent that information right back to Phoenix VA head director's office, and they responded with, a general letter on September the 8th to me that did not respond to any questions that I had given to them. They did not answer anything. So basically it was pushed under the rug.
Right, just blew you off, kind of. So
exactly.
I had a couple of things to get to, but I was hoping you would talk about after, last week, you can explain it better, but some of the pressure on some of the employees at the VA that were simply sharing information, you want to talk about that all?
Yeah, and I don't think nationally how the people know or understand how magnified it is that the pressure is being placed on these veterans and being placed on these, certain hand-picked VA employees, that they're under so much stress and strain from the top-level employees that it doesn't matter how much, they consider themselves a whistleblower, the information that's brought to them, they use their power as a source to control what's going on with the veterans and with the VA employees by retaliating against them. And I have a good case, as when I went to the VA hospital on September the 30th, I've invited, Phoenix state representatives and senators to, accompany me to the VA to see that the information that I'm trying to get from my medical records, to see what's taking place within the VA, none of them were willing to come except one. That was the only one that decided to come was Senator Kelly Ward. She's the only one that showed concern. I had a meeting with her. We met. We discussed all of this, the things that was taking place. And I invited her, to accompany me to one of my visits and one of my appointments. And she, for her own self, saw the things that was taking place while I was requesting for my medical records. And while I was there visiting the Phoenix VA Medical Center, they put so much pressure on the patient advocate's office, the office that we visited, for me to get some paperwork, that they basically retaliated against her, asking her questions, like what was my visit for, things like that. And that's what I got from some of the other VA employees. And next thing I knew, before I knew it, the next day, that information reached Senator John McCain's office, and Senator John McCain's office calling me, questioning why did I visit the VA hospital for that day.
Well,
And go ahead.
Well, I was there with you, and the
Right.
questions that we were talking about was basic information about just how things work. I mean, the fact that they reacted like that and were so paranoid and angry shows that they're hiding something and they're nervous, because for it to get to Senator McCain's office is, that's extreme.
And exactly. And when I talked to Senator McCain's office, I was so infuriated with the process that it took his office to call me 24 hours, a little over 24 hours later, questioning my concerns while my visit was at the Phoenix VA hospital. And I assured him that my visit was there to get my medical records, to view my medical records, and to see the process and delays with medical care. And that was my only reasons there. But the VA top staff members tried to turn that around to make it seem like I was there with Senator Kelly Ward for campaign reasons. So I had to assure Senator McCain's office that I was not there for campaign reasons. I was there for my concerns and other veterans' concerns about why there's so many appointments being delayed. Why is there so many falsification of medical records?
Yeah.
Why are veterans and VA employees being retaliated against these top-level employees, and nothing is being done about it?
Should they be that surprised that an elected official of the state would want to see what's going on inside an embattled healthcare system, the worst in the country? They should be applauded. Any elected official, whether in the legislature, a U.S. representative, one of our two senators, did they go there and show any concern? No, they didn't.
No, they didn't, and they didn't show any concern, even after I invited them. And I want to make this clear. Not only did I invite them to that visit in my appointment, I would say / appointment, I've been inviting Senator McCain's office for over, 5 years now. We can go back to 15 years if we want to, but more adamant about it, 5 years. I've been trying to get him to visit the VA facilities with me. He has never accepted my offer. And then it just appalling that he calls, his office calls me when I do have someone, a state representative like Kelly Ward, who cares about the veterans, who took her precious time out to come to the VA with me at my request to see what was actually taking place with my medical records. And I just don't get why they would play a part in the process with the VA to even call me and even question whether for campaign reasons.
They're protecting each other, and it's just what we were talking about. They don't look out for the veterans or for people that are trying to fix the system. They're looking out for the people internally within the Veterans Health Administration to protect them and keep information and keep everything they do quiet. They had a secret waiting list that started it all, right?
Yeah, exactly. And they had a secret waiting list. And if we want to go even further with the secret waiting list, that secret waiting list basically still exists at the Phoenix VA today, except they revised it or redefined it a little bit so it doesn't seem like a waiting list. So you don't have patients' names sitting there saying we're waiting on appointments. You just have patients' names sitting in the system basically saying you have a consultation that's been provided. We're waiting to schedule you with the doctor. And so those names sit there for quite a long time, for about 3 or 4 weeks. And then once they do make an appointment, it's about 30 days down the road when they do make that appointment. Yeah. So some veterans sit for 60 to 90 days before they even see a doctor.
Well, for example, the new incoming that's going to be overseeing this area in the Phoenix VA said, I believe it was under oath, that the waiting period was, I think she said 4 days. I don't have it in front of me, when in actuality it was 36 days, and she lied.
It's blatantly out lied. That's falsification of information once again. And that's taking that against the veterans, that are trying to seek this care, and to come out and put that type of information, to the public. It's a disgrace, actually. I dare anyone to try to pick up a phone and call the VA facility and try to get an appointment within 4 days. It's not going to happen. There's no possible way. Every appointment that I've ever made with the VA, it's been about, I would say, 4 months to 6 months before you can even see your PA provider. And that depends on if you get in. if you're lucky enough, you can call in, later down the road, and hopefully someone has canceled an appointment and you get in. But that's only about 30 days.
And that's also, that's with you following up on it constantly, trying to get